Thank you for watching NTD Business Top Stories tonight. The United States reaches its borrowing limit. The Treasury Department now trying to avoid a government default. A San Francisco business owner is arrested. A video of him went viral on social media where he was seen spraying a homeless woman with water, trying to get her to move. At the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, the United Nations chief slams fossil fuel producers hard, saying that oil is inconsistent with human survival. What's behind the war on fossil fuels? And a new survey shows that Americans are losing more and more money because of financial illiteracy. It caused many to lose over $10,000 last year. That and much more coming up on NTD Business. Great to have you with us, Don Ma here. The United States has officially reached its debt limit. The debt ceiling set by Congress has a borrowing limit of $31.4 trillion. The federal government hit that this morning. Now, the Treasury Department is set to begin taking what's called extraordinary measures to avoid a default and to ensure the federal government can continue financing its obligations for several more months. Congress now has the ability to raise the debt limit, and it has done that numerous times in the past. But it's something some Republicans have said they refuse to do this time without a negotiation first on cutting federal spending. Lawmakers have a few months to negotiate until the government defaults, something that really has never happened before. But if it does, it could hurt the national economy. Meanwhile, angry customers vented on social media yesterday about problems with their Bank of America and Zelle accounts. Some users said money vanished from their accounts. They also complained about a lack of information from either company about what went wrong. Zelle is a payment platform that millions of people use to send and receive money. The company says the problem is on Bank of America's side. Now, according to an NPR report, one user shared that Bank of America had magically disappeared a large Zelle transaction that they had used to pay bills. The user said their checking account was now in debt and they couldn't get a hold of anyone to help them, while another user said he was missing $1,300. He was told to call customer service but said they weren't helping him. Bank of America said the problem, though, now has been resolved. And over in San Francisco, the homeless debate is back in the news. This comes after an art gallery owner was arrested yesterday for spraying a homeless woman with a hose last week. A video went viral, sparking outrage. It shows him telling her to move while she sits on the sidewalk near his gallery. The owner, Shannon Collier Gwynn, told the San Francisco Chronicle the woman was being belligerent just before he hosed her. She was turning over his trash cans and even spitting on him. He's now publicly apologized. He told CBS he feels awful about it because he's put a lot of effort into actually helping the woman, letting her sleep in his entryway and calling social services and police to try to get her help. Investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger actually wrote a very interesting book on homelessness in San Francisco. Now, he believes the problem comes down to progressive groups. He says that some would rather keep people on the street and defund shelters. On Twitter, he said the city previously required homeless people to come inside where it's safer. But then last month, a judge ordered the city to let people camp on the sidewalks again. Schellenberger says many of the homeless are mentally ill or addicted to drugs, and they're 3 times more likely to die outside. He says some solutions are to build enough shelters, enforce camping bans, and offer care for those who need it. If the gallery owner is convicted, he faces a $2,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. And the entertainment industry as a whole is facing some earnings problems. Hollywood studios lost $500 billion in market value last year, and the head of the largest movie theater chain in the U.S. won't take a raise next year as a result. NTD's John Marshall has more.
Plain and simple, the entertainment industry is struggling. Hollywood and the world's largest media entertainment industry companies lost trillions of dollars in stock market value last year alone. Stock prices of major media companies dropped at least 35% last year, some more than 60%. This isn't because they all turned into bad businesses overnight. Pandemic recovery is an obvious reason, as well as inflation and economic struggles causing cheaper entertainment decisions. What do people on the street think?
You know, the first thing that should be improved is everyone thought if you unhook from your cable, you would be able to save money, but now there's 6 or 7 different services that you have to connect to. I don't care about that. I don't want to do that. I want to have 2. And then I could have like the Disney and then the whatever the other one would be, Netflix. Don't you think that seems to me like I don't want to have to pay more than I paid before.
One other factor may be a drop in Hollywood's share of the Chinese market. It fell from 45% a decade ago to just 8% so far this year. Increased competition from Chinese films has led to fewer approvals for Hollywood imports in China. The number of US-made films getting approval for release in China has dropped from 73 in 2018 to just 28 expected this year. Another unforeseen variable is that independent filmmaking has exploded. Even beginner filmmakers are able to shoot decent movies using their smartphones. Unsane, a psychological horror film released in February 2018 in Berlin, earned $14.3 million at the box office. It was shot on an iPhone 7 Plus. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
And on to Wall Street, stocks ended lower today. The Dow lost 252 points or 0.8%. S&P dropped 30 points, also 0.8%. And the Nasdaq fell 105 points or 1%. The World Economic Forum is calling for new initiatives to standardize and revamp diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives in companies. In a white paper published Tuesday, the organization urged corporations and governments to do more to track racial data. It's titled Prioritizing Racial and Ethnic Equity in Business. It was released as part of this week's summit in Switzerland. The paper says minorities bear the brunt of what it calls today's polycrisis, something it defines as the culmination of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate issues, and political unrest. A set of guidelines for business owners was released alongside the paper detailing how to adopt equitable practices. The report acknowledges concerns over race-based data collection, invoking the Spanish Inquisition and even Nazi Germany as 2 examples of that danger. Backing the initiative are giants like Google, Deutsche Bank, Coca-Cola, BlackRock, Bloomberg, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, PayPal, and MasterCard. The United Nations chief took a hard jab at the fossil fuel industry at the WEF meeting. He blamed the industry for heating up the planet.
Fossil fuel producers and their enablers are still racing to expand production, knowing full well that this business model is inconsistent with human survival. And like the tobacco industry, those responsible must be held to account.
The UN chief says that fossil fuel producers were aware in the 70s that their product was, quote, baking our planet. The World Economic Forum has made climate one of the key themes this year's gathering in the Swiss mountain resort, with a number of panel discussions dedicated to topics like energy transition and sustainability. A recent WEF article said that humanity's greatest challenge right now is climate change. It asserted that we need to speed up the green energy transition.